Butty Boy is the reluctant fell runner. Historical Scene 2. Camo and JT were running along the boundary edge of a farm field. "God, this is hard work," said JT, breathing hard to keep up with Camo.
"Think of all those lazy people sat on their couches watching television, and you are out doing this in the fresh air,"
said Camo. The boundary between the field they were on and the next was a small green bumpy ridge with clipped thorny bushes and ancient yew trees. On the same spot, 350 years previously, a farmer and his shy horse ploughed the field. His 9-year-old son followed behind the plough. When the plough dragged up a stone, the boy picked it up and carried it to the boundary edge and dropped it there. If the rock was too big for him to carry, the farmer cursed, stopped the horse, gave the boy the reins, and carried the large rock himself. Over the years, the boundary grew and became covered in grass and moss. Episode 4. So You Want to Play? JT waited in the recessed doorway of the hairdresser's. It was not yet sunrise. There was no bird noise yet. He looked up the familiar road that looked different in the dark at this hour. "What the hell am I doing?" he thought. "This is not what normal people do. Everyone else is asleep in their beds." He had two competing emotions. One was trying to pump his adrenaline at being out in the dark and what could be lurking in the shadows, and to scare him of the fells he was going to face. And the other was trying to switch his brain off and make him fall fast asleep where he stood. He yawned. Camo's big white car came down the main road and pulled off to his street to pick him up, and he stepped out of the shadows. He opened the door and the internal light came on to show Camo's excited face.
"Ready for this?"
he said, rubbing his hands. "Sort of," said JT, getting into the car. "I'm sure it makes him happy to see me suffer," thought JT. They set off for the Cowgirls' Fells. The sun came up on the way. They arrived on the same street they had parked on previously.
"There's Yorkshire and Three Coats waiting,"
said Camo.
"They are already here. Looks like there's going to be a few today. This should be good."
JT had a thought. How good are they?" he said. "I'm not going to be out of my depth, am I? You know I'm slow. This is only my second time. It was bloody difficult last time. I'm not going to be the idiot at the back keeping everyone waiting, am I?"
"You'll be fine. Stop worrying,"
said Camo. Camo jumped out of the car. "Easy for you to say when you can keep up," said JT under his breath. There was a small group of fell runners hanging about the cars, getting their gear sorted out and chit-chatting.
"Oh, brilliant,"
said Camo.
"Peaches is here with her mate Sue. That will brighten my day at least."
JT looked across. There were two girls stood talking together. One was slim and pretty, and the other was not as pretty, smaller and stockier.
"Oh, hello!" shouted Yorkshire. "It's Camo and Butty Boy. Come to join us on our little excursion. 14 good rugged country miles and 4,500 feet of climb. Should be a nice mid-tier workout while the rest of the world gets fat lying in bed."
"Looks like you are Butty Boy now,"
said Camo.
"Or JB for short instead of JT."
"Great," said JB.
"It's Yorkshire and Three Coats,"
shouted Camo back, going up to them and shaking their hands.
"Yorkshire, I like that. That's my first running nickname," he said.
"To your face," said JB, stepping forward to shake Yorkshire's hand.
"Ha ha, very funny,"
said Yorkshire. JB went to shake Three Coats by the hand.
"I don't like Three Coats as a nickname,"
he said.
"I like mine,"
said Yorkshire,
Anyway, it is a general rule that the nicknamee does not get to pick their own nickname. It is a given name. Otherwise, everyone would be king or god or something like that. You're only saying that because Yorkshire is a good nickname. If you were three coats, you wouldn't like it. But I don't have three coats, do I? So it wouldn't work, see, would it? It has to be relevant or it won't stick. Three coats is a pretty good name, actually. It's better than Brian, anyway.
Three Coats pulled a face. When I was growing up, said JB, there were three lads who went around together who were called Fish, Chips and Peas. They all had ginger hair. I never saw much of Chips. I don't know what happened to him, but everyone called Fish, Fish and Peas, Peas for years. I bet they're still called that now.
Brilliant,
said Three Coats.
I don't want to be called Three Coats for the rest of my life.
Hang on, said JB. What happened to the rat's tails? Yorkshire's and Three Coats' rat's tails had gone.
Ah, well,
said Yorkshire, stroking the now absent rat tail.
Upon a club review, we decided on a less hirsute direction. Sometimes I think it is still there,
said Three Coats, stroking the back of his head wistfully. Camo stepped closer to Yorkshire.
I've started on the keto diet, actually,
said Camo quietly.
Giving it a try, you know.
Oh yes, following my expert advice,
said Yorkshire loudly and proudly to everyone.
After doing my own research,
said Camo equally loudly to everyone.
Obviously, what idiot would not do their own research?
Yorkshire looked at Three Coats.
Yes, obviously, hear that. Do your own research. Isn't that what I always say?
He said.
Yes, it is,
said Three Coats. He looked at JB.
He does say that a lot, actually. And how are you finding it?
Said Yorkshire to Camo. He was lauding it a little that Camo had followed his advice.
Yes, pretty good. I've loads of energy and I'm losing weight. It's surprising, really. You wouldn't think so with all that bacon and eggs, like. All them cheese and fats. Who knew it was your breads, potatoes and your sugars that were doing all the damage and making people fat?
Yes, amazing. That's what I said. That's exactly what I said, isn't it?
Yes,
said Camo, forced to agree. Do you not think you're being a bit dramatic? Said JB.
He's a thespian,
said Three Coats. A what? Joked JB, pretending not to know.
A thespian,
he repeated, unaware. You're an actor then, said JB to Yorkshire.
I tread the boards, darling, from time to time, he said.
OK, said JB. Camo was still stewing, unhappy at letting Yorkshire get one up on him, and a moment later he said,
You're not still wearing those Vulcan 90s, are you? You need to get a pair of these new Robotica White Stripe Mark 3s. They arrived yesterday. They are amazing. Wide fitting to give room for your toes, superb grip on the downhill with their 5mm studs based on the grip pattern of a mountain goat's hoof, Kevlar thread for strength, nanotechnology to give the lightest but strongest available shoe, and the latest sweat wick-away breathable material.
Sweat wick-away, have you heard him? Said Yorkshire to everyone around him. A wick away, in the fells, the mighty fells, Camo sleeps tonight. Ooh! Well, it looks like I've got some competition on the geek and technology front, everybody. But you cannot be serious there, my friend. The Robotica, even though a more recent manufacture, is still not a patch on the trusty Falcon 90s. And that's even before the coming upgrade version comes out, which will no doubt put it even further ahead. The Falcon 90 is a true classic, my friend.
Yes, but what about the extra thickness of the sole of the Robotica that stops the sharp crags digging into the bottom of your feet? You have to admit it's the Falcon 90's weakness and has led to many a great fell runner having to come off a major excursion with an injury.
Yorkshire took the blow and tried to turn defence into attack.
Not that old chestnut of an attack on the falcon. That's only for those fell runners who don't watch where they put their feet. A good fell runner wouldn't put their feet in danger in the first place. And that extra thickness comes at what cost? All that extra weight on your feet all the way around. For something like the Norbert, that is going to cost you over all that time. It could be the difference between a good time and a poor time, or even finishing and not finishing at all.
Camo took the hit and came back with his own response.
I grant you they do feel a little heavy when you first put them on.
Ha ha!
Said Yorkshire.
But you soon get used to them,
retorted Camo.
Besides, you could just take a bit of extra food with you if you're using more energy.
More weight,
ridiculed Yorkshire, looking around for support.
He's talking about carrying more weight. And are we going to carry extra food to help fuel the extra weight of the extra food? And so on and so forth? I believe not. Don't we do everything in our power to lower our weight? Oh, no, my friend. I'll stick to my trusty falcons, thank you very much.
I think it's worth it,
said Camo.
We'll see after you've been on a long one, my friend. You'll be singing a different song then. You'll see. What do you say, Butty Boy?
Oh, I like these Japanese Midoris the guy in the running shop recommended.
Midoris? They're rubbish,
said Yorkshire with great disgust.
No one buys Midoris.
I told him,
said Camo,
but he wouldn't listen.
That shopkeeper certainly saw the newbie coming,
laughed Three Coats. Says the man who bought 3 coats, said JB.
I told you, I need them,
he protested,
for all the different weather conditions.
Layers!
JB, Yorkshire and Camo all shouted together and then laughed. I wear Midoris, said Peaches. The boys shuffled about, not wanting to offend the pretty girl.
Ah, yes, that's it. It's a girl's shoe,
said Yorkshire. What's wrong with that? Said Peaches and her friend together sternly.
Nothing,
said Yorkshire.
Are we ready to get going then, everyone?
People did last minute hurrying around to get ready. After the Midori comment, and because no one else was going to introduce them, JB went up to Peaches. Hello, my name's Justin. Peaches is a nice name. Why did your parents call you Peaches? Did they just like it, or was it after a relative or something? She looked at him with a cold stare. They didn't. My name's not Peaches, it's Melanie. What gave you the idea I'm called Peaches? Eh? JB was confused. All the boys looked sheepishly down at their toes and started coughing and stifling laughter. Oh, I was.
Right then,
said Camo, slapping JB hard on the back to shut him up.
Shall we get started then, before we get cold or what?
Everyone set off immediately.
OK, and we are off,
said Yorkshire.
I'll be at the front as I'm today's guide. You are in for a treat with the Big Dipper at the end. Ha ha! If agony's your treat, that is.
Yorkshire ran to the front, with Three Coats hurrying behind him.
Grand,
said Camo. The girls set off behind Yorkshire and Three Coats. JB caught up to Camo and whispered to him quietly. What was that all about? I thought you said her name was Peaches. She says it's Melanie. She gave me the right stink eye. Why did you tell me her name was Peaches? Camo was trying not to laugh.
Peaches is what they call her behind her back, not to her face.
Why? Said JB. He nodded forward to where Peaches was walking in front, and there it was, the reason. She had the most delicious, shapely bottom he had seen in many a long day. There it was, wiggling away as she walked, in all its shapely glory, as if it was a live thing all by itself. The other girl was less fortunate. You mean to tell me I've just walked up to her and said, "Hello, Peaches"? Camo snorted a laugh.
You all right back there?
Said Yorkshire, looking back. He was smirking, obviously knowing what it was about. The girls walked on, chatting quietly to themselves, either oblivious or acting oblivious.
"Yes, thanks,"
shouted Camo.
"That's made my day,"
he said to JB.
"That's priceless."
No wonder she gave me the stink eye, he said. She probably knows.
"Don't think so,"
said Camo.
"She's a bit of a cool bitch." "No, that's not quite fair. That's too strong. She's not a bitch. She's an ice queen. Stuck up herself. That's what she is, an ice queen."
"Well, I'd like the ground to swallow me up, and I can't wait for this to be all over," said JB.
"Ha ha!"
Camo laughed and ran to join Yorkshire, leaving him at the back. When Camo got there, he said something quietly to Yorkshire and Three Coats, and they all burst out laughing. "Oh my God, this is awful," thought JB. "Why am I here?" Yorkshire paused at the bottom of the hill, and they bunched up towards him.
Of course, there are two main routes up our first hill, Windy Scratch. The easy one that loops round.
He pointed his arms out and followed the line.
And the one that's not so easy straight up.
He pointed at the route straight up. JB remembered it well.
"Guess which one we are taking, ha ha!"
said Yorkshire.
"To the clouds and back, everyone!"
He shouted triumphantly and set off up the very steep hill.
"Woohoo!"
shouted Camo.
"Let's put the leather to the heather!"
He set off behind Yorkshire. Yorkshire stopped and looked back.
"That's quite a good one. I might borrow that one. Let's put the leather to the heather. Quite good, Camo."
"Let's get the thrills on the hills!" shouted JB at the back.
Not quite as good as Camo's there, Butty Boy, but good effort,"
said Yorkshire. Everyone looked around. There was no more, so they carried on. JB could see Three Coats was miffed and trying to think of one. JB turned onto the incredibly steep climb. In the first few steps, it all came back to him exactly how hard it was and what it was going to be like. Within a few minutes, they had started to string out with him at the back. He looked up to see them pushing ahead already. His calves were tight, and it was painful to climb. He was talking to himself in his mind. "Okay, start to zigzag a little, and that will help."
I've got it,
shouted Three Coats.
"Let's go get the smell on the fell."
Everyone looked at him and pulled a face. "Oh no," said Yorkshire. "Oh no.
"It's about the fresh air,"
said Three Coats.
"and it rhymes."
"No," said Yorkshire, shaking his head, and turned to carry on. Three Coats started to mutter himself.
"Our shoes aren't even made of leather anymore. I don't know how he gets away with that one."
JB looked up. They were all getting further ahead, so he decided not to zigzag as much and climbed straight up, but that hurt more. Camo, Yorkshire and Three Coats were at the front. They looked back. He could see them looking at him, and he thought they were talking about him. He tried to move faster, but he soon began to feel his heart beat pounding at his temples. His calves started to scream out, and he could feel his energy draining away. "If I push on faster, I'm only going to tire quicker. Why did I come here? This is going to be a disaster. It's already awful, and this is just the start of it. I'm not going to be able to keep up. They're going to be stopping and waiting for me all the way around. In an hour, a couple of hours, I'm going to be stuck out there in the middle of nowhere. Think, what can you do? How can you get out of this? There's no way out. You can't even go back to the car because you got a lift here. Why did I agree to come?" JB kept looking up. Yorkshire, Camo and Three Coats were at the front. They stopped every so often to chill and look back. The two girls were walking steadily up, and there he was, lagging behind. JB stopped for a second to let the lactic acid drain out of his calves. He could see the boys looking at him disapprovingly. If it was just me and Camo, that would not be so bad. If I was by myself, I could go at my own pace. I'd be all right then. That's it. I'll stay on this first hill going up and down at my own pace, and they can go off at their pace. I get a workout, they get a proper workout, and don't have to hang around waiting for me. Camo came trotting back down past the girls. Yorkshire and Three Coats turned and carried on up. I'm going to have to tell him now, he thought. This is so embarrassing. Should I just try and get round? No, I've made up my mind. It's for the best.
You okay?
He said when he arrived.
How are you getting on?
Awful. My calves are so tight. They're killing. They're not used to hills yet. Can we not bring someone crap next time for a change?
Ha ha!
Camo laughed. Seriously, can we not bring someone new to this so I can see how I'm getting on against them? Every time we come out, we are with good experienced fellsmen.
You'll be all right. Just push on a bit.
No, I can't keep up your pace yet. I've decided I'm going to stay going up and down this first hill. I can go at my own pace, and you can go round with them at their pace. That way we both get a good workout, and I'll be here when you get back.
No, don't do that. We can't leave you here,
said Camo. No, I'll be fine, honestly. It's what I'd prefer to do. That way I'm not slowing anyone up. Camo sighed.
I'll go and speak to Yorkshire and Three Coats.
JB watched him gently trot and use his long legs to stride up the hill. He said,
Hello, how are you doing?
When he passed the girls, and then he caught up with the other two. I don't know how he does it, thought JB. I can't go that fast. Just can't do it. He could see the three of them discussing him, pointing back at him. This is embarrassing. Should I just do it? He felt how sweaty and tired and out of breath he was. No, you've made your mind up. Stick to that. The five of them were waiting for him as he came up by himself. The three men together and the two girls chatting by themselves, off to one side a little.
Come on, you at the back, keep up, man,
shouted Yorkshire.
You don't want to be left behind. Are you going to be bringing up the rear all morning?
Shouted Three Coats.
It must be a bummer to be at the back.
He was coming up the last steep section at the time. He felt waves of embarrassment at being the slowest, but also the jokes. Oh my God, they're making bum jokes too now. He looked across at Melanie. Does she know? He thought. Melanie was talking to her friend. She either did not know or was pretending not to know. Oh God, this is awful, thought JB. Well, that's it then. They can bugger off now. I'm staying here going up and down. That's it. My mind is definitely made up. The last section was flat to them, but he did not hurry it.
Come on, man. Don't make an arse of yourself.
Yorkshire laughed as he arrived. The three men were stifling giggles and sniggering like three naughty schoolboys on a trip to church. Thanks for waiting, he said. But you go on. I'll stay here going up and down this hill. My pace is not up to yours, and I'll slow you all down.
No, nobody left behind,
said Camo half-heartedly. I'm not being left behind out over the hills. I'm here at the start, said JB. I can do this at my own pace, and I'll be happy.
Can't leave you,
said Camo again.
Well, if that's what he wants to do himself,
said Yorkshire.
Only if you're sure,
said Camo.
Only if you're happy to do it.
No, it's fine, said JB. You lot go on. You can do it at your own pace. I'll be fine here. I can do it at my own pace, and we all get a good workout.
It might be for the best if he's not up to it,
said Three Coats.
Maybe you shouldn't have brought him,
said Yorkshire to Camo.
I thought he would be fine,
said Camo. No, it's fine, said JB, and he turned around to head back down. You go on, and I'll be here on this first hill when you get back.
Looks like he's made up his mind,
said Yorkshire.
We'd better get going then,
said Three Coats.
Don't want to hang around wasting any more time.
JB could hear them talking behind him. What's going on? Said Melanie. Why is he going back down? Didn't he come in your car?
He wants to stay on this first hill while we go around. He doesn't think he can keep up,
said Yorkshire. And you're going to let him? Said Melanie.
It was his own idea.
Really? Get me the hell out of here, please God, thought JB, trying not to make it obvious he was hurrying out of earshot. He had trotted over the edge, and thankfully he could no longer hear them. After a short while he risked a glance back. No one was coming over the lip of the hill, and he slowed down. This is fine. I can do this at my own pace now. Maybe I can get about 3 ups in. That would be about 3,000 feet. I'd be happy with that for a Sunday morning. They will be about 4 hours. I can take my time, and this is all good. He looked at his watch. It's 8:10 now, so they will be back about 12. That's all right. His feet hurried him down a steep section to a plateau. He paused on the plateau for a moment to look at the town down below. See, you can even stop for a second and take in a view, he said out loud. This is better. I prefer this. This is good. Can't believe the dirty rats left me like that, and so quick.
Maybe you shouldn't have brought him,
he mimicked. Twat.
I thought he would be fine.
Twat. No, it was my own idea. Before he knew it, he was at the bottom, and he turned immediately back up, so he didn't have time to think about it. My God, going up is different. As soon as you start, the squeeze is on your lungs. Going down isn't easy. It really hurts. But up gives your lungs the squeeze. He went up and down 3 times and nearly forgot about the others. They could come back and say what they liked, but he had done 3 in just about 2 hours, so he was pleased with that. He was going back up on his 4th, surprising himself, when he saw 2 people coming down. After a few minutes, he recognised Melanie and Sue. They were going down by a long curved route, not the vertical one he was doing. Sue was limping a little. He waved and Melanie waved back. Sue didn't wave. Probably too busy worrying and in pain with her ankle, he thought. He carried on up to the top. He paused for a moment to enjoy the view. I wonder where the other 3 are now, he thought, looking back over the hills. There's no sight of them. He set off back down, his legs sore, but he was pleased with himself. Near the bottom he could see Melanie coming back up the path. Wow, she's tough and committed coming back. What is she going to do, go out after them? I hope I avoid her so it's not awkward, he thought, but he could see they were destined to pass close to each other. Oh well, he thought. A quick hello and she'll be on her way. Hi, he said. Hi, she said. Is your friend Sue all right? She will be, nothing major. She just twisted her ankle. Luckily she can drive. As we came up in separate cars, I would have had to drive her and pick up her car later. She's got it strapped up now and she's going home to ice it. I don't think it's too bad. It will be a bit bruised, but after a few days, she should be okay. Knocks you sick, turning your ankle, doesn't it? He said. Horrible feeling, she said, involuntarily shaking. So they buggered off and left you then? No, it's okay. It was my own idea, he said. Yeah, I'll bet. How many have you done then? This last one makes 4, he said. That's good, she said, surprised. That's really good. That's about 5,000 feet, I reckon. It's over 1,000 to the top. Have you had enough, or are you going up again? I was going to carry on until they were back, he said. Mind if I join you? She said. No, I'm not very fast, so if you want to race ahead, it's no problem. No, it's okay, she said. I don't mind it slow. She's all smiles and really nice, thought JB. She's not a nice queen at all. Okay then. She set off in front of him, and there immediately was her beautiful bottom, gently swaying from left to right and back again. Oh God, I've got a problem, he thought. So, do you come here often? She said. What? Do you come here to the Cowgirls' Fells often? No, this is just my second time. I've not been doing this long. I hope I get better at it and speed up. You will. We all have to start somewhere. He was just about to say, well, I'm starting at the bottom, and he managed to stop himself in time. How long have you been on the fells? He said. All my life, really. I love it, being out on the hills and out of the office. I don't mind the weather either. It's just choosing the right clothing. What do they say? There is no bad weather, only the wrong clothes. Yeah, something like that, I think. He was mesmerised by her bottom. Oh my God, it's hypnotic. I can't take my eyes off it. You said office? Where do you work at? He said, for something to say. Boring, really. I work in the offices at the council. I'm a member of Her Majesty's Civil Service. Oh, I'm sure it's more interesting than you're saying, he said. She stopped and looked at him. No. She smiled and shook her head. Bloody hell, she's beautiful, he thought. So what do you do? She asked. She turned and got back to walking. He talked about his job, and all the while there was that swinging bottom. Who says men can't multitask? He thought. Here I am, chatting away in a conversation, and I can talk and walk and look at her ass all at the same time. That sounds more interesting than my job, she said. It's okay, he said, but I want to be a writer, really. Oh, wow. What do you write about? Well, that's the problem. I can't seem to get enough time to do it. I've written a few short stories, nothing published yet, but I want to write a novel. I've tried starting it a few times and it goes okay for a while, but then I find I can't get a big enough block of time to see it through. That's brilliant. You should never give up. I wish I could do something creative like that, she said. Well, I can't take the praise. I haven't done it yet, he said. But at least you are trying. At least you are giving it a go. I'd like to do something creative, but I just don't know what to do. I'm sure you'll find something too, he said. Life just seems to hurry on by, she said. Here she is, talking nice and openly to you, and you're staring at her bottom. I'm going to hell. That's it. I'm going to hell. Come on now, be a good boy and look away. He looked away and carried on talking. After a short time had passed, without meaning to, his eyes drifted back onto it. Guess you can't resist millions of years of evolution, he thought. No, that's right. It's not evil. It's only natural. And it's only rude to look if they know you are looking. She can't know. So, no harm, no foul. No, it's a beautiful bottom, and it will be a shame to waste it. Now I don't feel so bad. Just enjoy it while it lasts. Hang on a minute. You're wearing lycra. You can't take a chance like this wearing lycra. For God's sake, look away. Take your eyes off it. Nearly there, nearly at the top, she said. That was quick, he said. It's talking and company that does it. I don't know how you did 4 all by yourself. I'd go mad. Oh, thank God we are nearly at the top, he thought. It's too much, just too much. It's like too much cake or those long weeks and weeks of summer sunshine when you feel you have to go out all the time and you can't wait for it to just rain so you can stay in and watch the telly. I won't have to face it anymore. I won't have to look at it. Come on, it's for the best that it's over. Phew, I think I got away with it. She got to the top and stood with her hand on her hips and looked at him. Enjoy the view. Excuse me, he said. Do you like the view? Oh, I'm so sorry, yes. I didn't mean to look, but I couldn't help it. It is an exquisite bottom. Everybody thinks so, and they do call you Peaches behind your back. She stared at him, open-mouthed, and then swept her arm out behind him at all the hills and the little town in the valley below. The view. Oh, he said. He just stared at her, wishing the ground would swallow him up, wishing he could turn back time, wishing again he had never come here at all. It was not just that he had said it. Here they were, stuck together alone on the top of a mountain, miles from the next human being. I know they call me Peaches behind my back, she said angrily. I know they are staring at my arse. Of course I know, but there's no need for you to shove it in my face like that, is there? She was bright red in the face. When she finished speaking, she angrily folded her arms across her chest and bounced furiously on the spot. He thought there was nothing he could say or do to take it back, so he took a chance. I was rather hoping you'd shove it in my face, actually, he said. Her mouth dropped open in complete shock. You did not just say that. I can't believe you said that. He looked at her hopefully with a smile about to crack on his face. They burst out laughing together, and she punched him on the chest quite hard. You cheeky rascal, she said. We've only just met. Ow, he joked. Fair enough, I suppose I deserve that. She was still laughing and shaking her head. Well, this is a first, she said. At least you said it to my face. So you're brave, are you? Okay, I'll play. 1-0 to you it is. He didn't know what to do. He didn't want it to get awkward and turned to run back down. See you at the bottom? She sucked in a breath and then laughed. Oh, starting are we? He goes into an early lead, she said. 2-0 to you. They were both laughing on the way down, their laughter affected by the jolting they were taking running down the steep hill. On the way down, when it was at the steepest section, she shouted from just behind him. You've not got such a bad arse yourself. JB had a slight misstep. Bloody hell, I could have broken my neck then. She went past him laughing. Ha ha, I believe that's 2-1. See you at the bottom it is. He arrived after her at the base of the hill. Phew, this is getting tough, he said. Time for one more, old man. He smiled at her. Okay, but for God's sake, let me go in front this time so I can concentrate. Ah, she laughed and strode off in front of him. It's only a bottom. Everybody has one. They're not all the same, he said. She paused and looked back over her shoulder. Besides, I never said I minded you looking. Bloody hell, he said. Ah, she laughed at him. That's 2-2, I believe. He shrugged and suppressed a smile. Some games you don't mind losing. Ah, she laughed loudly and turned back to walking. Back to 3-2 to you. You know, this is unexpected, but it could be fun, she said. He felt stiff but pushed himself on in a methodical fashion, one step after another. You know, it's a shame you're not called Peaches. Melanie is a good name and all that as it goes, but Peaches is a great name. Well, you call me Peaches then, she said, and gave him a glance over her shoulder, when no one else is around. They went up the hill, and he was mostly off to one side and level with her most of the way, as they chit-chatted, putting the game away for a bit. On the way down, they saw the other three jogging down the longer, more curved and shallower path Peaches had come down earlier with Sue. They got to the bottom of the hill before them and waited. They were strung out in a line, Yorkshire, 3 coats, and then Camo. Yorkshire arrived and went to the dry stone wall, lifted a leg and stretched.
Oh, good. You had some company after all,
said Yorkshire to JB.
Is Sue okay?
he said to Melanie. She's fine.
Well, you two look happy campers,
he said as Three Coats came in and stopped. We are, said Melanie, smiling and looking at JB. Jam Butty is good company. And here in the Cowgirls you get such great views, said JB with a straight face. She stifled a laugh and then came back with, yes, some would even say exquisite. Yorkshire looked like there was a joke going on that he did not know about. He switched legs to stretch the other one.
Good, good,
he said as Camo came running in. When Camo came to a stop, he lifted his arms up to chest height. He took a deep breath in as he pulled his arms to his chest, and then a deep breath out as he pushed his arms out. He did that a couple of times.
Gurkha warm down,
he said afterwards.
Excuse me,
said Yorkshire.
Gurkha warm down,
said Camo.
That's all the Gurkhas do after a long run. They all come in after a long one and just do that. One after another. That's all they need. That's their warm down, and they have amazing fitness.
Oh.
Camo demonstrated it again, this time bending his knees and doing it more exaggerated. He pulled his arms in with a breath.
Pull the ball, he said,
and then,
push the ball,
and again,
pull the ball, push the ball. You imagine you are holding a big red ball and you pull it in for a breath and out for a breath.
Yorkshire immediately got up from stretching and tried one.
Pull the ball, push the ball,
he said.
No, you don't say pull the ball, push the ball out loud. You imagine it and breathe deeply in and deeply out.
OK,
said Yorkshire, bobbing up and down on the spot in great seriousness. He did it again. He even copied Camo, saying,
Gurkha warm down.
Afterwards,
That's it,
said Camo.
That's it.
Yorkshire smiled, proud of himself.
Interesting,
he said. Then he turned to Melanie and JB.
Well, we have had a jolly good time ourselves, haven't we, chaps? 14 miles and 4,500 feet,
said Yorkshire proudly. That's good, said JB.
How many ups did you do?
Said Yorkshire disparagingly. I did the first part of your run with you, and then I did 2 ups here, said Melanie. Yorkshire did some working out in his mind.
So, about 3,500 feet, maybe,
he said. Melanie turned to JB. And how many did you do in total? 6, he said. I did 6 in the end. I'm quite pleased with that. Yorkshire was aghast.
But that means you did more height than us. You did 6,000 feet. Not the 14 miles, I grant you, but you got all the ups in. So while we were wasting our time running across the flat tops, you were getting more height in.
It will be well over 8,000 feet, actually, said Melanie. Each one is over 1,200 feet, not just 1,000.
Yes, quite,
he said, thinking to himself.
You've hit upon, quite by accident, quite a good strategy there. We could use that, Three Coats. Get your notepad and pen out and make a note of that.
Three Coats took his rucksack off to get his notepad. Yorkshire lifted his hand up to his chin to help him think.
Yes, indeed, that is a good idea. If he can do 6 ups in this time, then we could do 7, maybe 8.
Melanie shook her head. Anyway, I've got to be off. Work tomorrow, worst luck, she said, making a move to go. I'm parts further down than you, so I'll be off then. She put her hand lightly on JB's shoulder. Thanks for the company on the hill. No doubt I'll see you on one of these again. Yes, it was a pleasure meeting you. Everyone said goodbye to her and she set off jogging.
Looks like you made an impression there, Jam Butty Boy, said Yorkshire. And Melanie is usually a little standoffish. She was actually laughing. I don't think I've ever seen her laugh before. Melanie, you mean Peaches? Said Three Coats.
The three of them laughed, remembering his foot-in-mouth moment.
She does have such a lovely bum, though,
said Camo.
No wonder you kept going up and down here if you had that to follow.
They all laughed. I didn't notice, said JB.
Yeah, right,
said Camo. They all started jogging back to their cars. JB and Camo stripped off to get into clean, dry clothes at the back of Camo's car.
You missed out on the naked camper at the top,
said Camo.
He asked after you. He said, Where's Jam Butty?
No way, said JB. I don't know how he does it, naked camping.
I know, I can't believe it,
said Camo.
Naked camping. I wonder what gave him the idea.
It's not very British, said JB. As a country, we don't do naked in public. Probably Oliver Cromwell and the Puritans, and then Victorian prudery.
Yeah,
said Camo. I bet when we were pagans, we didn't mind a bit of public nudity. Now it's not the norm at all, said JB.
No, definitely not,
said Camo. When they were saying this, they were naked except for their underpants at the back of Camo's car, changing into dry, clean clothes in the middle of the residential street. A local, just getting up late on the Sabbath, opened his curtains to see the back of them. He closed the curtains straight away again.
Bloody fell runners,
he said.